What is going on, guys? The Inside the Boot podcast, and today we have our Week 10 picks. We have been red hot. We've been really good. 81 and I believe 52 now is our record. I'd have to check after this video. Of course, I'm going to put my record in the description, and we got a lot of good picks this week upcoming. I think that we're already getting started with a really good Thursday night football game with two teams battling. For Cincinnati standards, they can't make many mistakes if they want to lock themselves in for a playoff spot. And for Baltimore, it's continued to keep winning. I mean, 6-3 start. They had a rough start at the start of the year. Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry are a real problem. The Ravens recently traded for Tre'Davious White. Was it the best move for them? Probably not. Maybe they could have got like a Marshawn Lattimore for their cornerback. They've been having trouble with their pass rush, but they didn't really. The trade deadline was pretty underwhelming. Probably the best move was Marshawn Lattimore going to the Washington Commanders. In my opinion, I don't really know if I could think of another deal, or I'm like, okay. My Giants didn't do anything at the deadline, but regardless, let's get into these picks. And starting off, we got the Baltimore Ravens. I don't think they're going to kill them in this game. I think it's going to be quite close because Joe Burrow and Ja'Marr Chase have to be on their game if they want to even have a chance to defeat the Baltimore Ravens on the road, too. I mean, it's tough to play in Baltimore, and when you can't make many mistakes, you're just taking on a better team, I think. I think all around, Baltimore has better. The QB's been playing better than Joe Burrow. Derrick Henry is a problem. I don't know how that run defense is going to do against him. But I got Baltimore Ravens winning this game, and pretty close game. 24-18 is my updated score prediction. Remember, the score predictions aren't what matters. It's picking the correct teams. And going into our next game, probably the worst game of the week. In terms of vibes, I mean, this game is a 9:30 start in Germany, and both teams are 2-7, and both teams are absolutely terrible. For me, as a Giants fan, it's tough to make this prediction because you stink, and so does the Carolina Panthers. Both teams are 2-7. Both teams have a QB issue. Both teams just haven't been good. I mean, 2-7. The Giants with Daniel Jones hasn't been great. Of course, that experiment is probably over after this year. And with Bryce Young, you haven't probably got the development you would have liked. But I think just overall, I think I like the Giants in this game. Haven't taken the Giants in a while. And I think if there's a time to win a game, it's against the Carolina Panthers. And I'm gonna say this: I think if the New York Giants, who have a better overall roster than the Carolina Panthers, I think if you lose this game, I think there's actually a real chance. I know John Mara said that they're not gonna fire Joe Schoen and they're not gonna fire Brian Daboll. But I think if they lose this game, I think the seat just gets hot. Like, it gets real hot. I don't think it's that hot because, realistically, when you go from the Gettleman to Joe Schoen era, a lot has to be done. Has Joe Schoen had the best drafts? No. But regardless, Giants are going to win that game. This game, honestly, like, Bears had a pretty bad game against the Arizona Cardinals. I think they lost 29-9. A tough game there. I think I like them in this game at home, though. I don't think the Patriots have enough to defeat Caleb Williams. I think it's going to be a fun battle, though. Caleb Williams against Drake May. Getting into our next game, the Buffalo Bills have been way too good. And the Indianapolis Colts were not able to beat a good defense with the Minnesota Vikings, which makes me to make an easy decision to take Josh Allen and to improve to 8-2. Colts fall in this one, and they fall to 4-6. Getting into another game, And I'll say this. The last 2 weeks, we've bet against the Vikings. We took the Lions over them, and we took the Rams. We tried to take them 3 weeks in a row with the Colts. It did not work. Joe Flacco didn't give us that masterclass performance we would have liked. But we're going to take the Minnesota Vikings because Trevor Lawrence, I don't even know if he's going to play this week. It's been a tough watch. It's been a tough watch. Getting into our next slate of games. Sorry about that. Nose has just been stuffy, and I don't want you guys to hear that. So, getting into our next game. Kansas City Chiefs and the Buccaneers, they went to overtime. And, of course, no surprise, Kansas City wins the toss, and they win the game. And Baker Mayfield's reaction when they lost the toss said it all. Getting into this game, I said this before. I don't know if I see a team that can beat the Kansas City Chiefs on their remaining schedule. I don't see it. I mean, if there is a game, it's the Buffalo Bills. And I think I might take them in that game. But, the Kansas City Chiefs, man, they are rolling. Improving to 9-0 if they win this game against Bo Nix. Just a really tough season. And a really tough time for NFL fans because many don't want the Chiefs to succeed. And to see them go out and to see them just dominate teams, I mean, it's frustrating to watch. But, I mean, Kansas City doesn't care. They trade for DeAndre Hopkins for nothing. Getting into our next game, divisional matchup. The Saints are awful. Atlanta just beat up Dallas, and I'm not saying that's impressive because Dallas is not a good football team this year. So, it's a pretty easy pick here to take the Atlanta Falcons. That would mean that the Saints, after starting 2-0, would have 8 straight losses. Just a really tough look, man. Getting into our next game, I think this is going to be a very fun game. We saw that Christian McCaffrey return to practice, and that is probably the best news that the San Francisco 49ers fan base can receive. And unfortunately, I think the Bucs are a good team, but I think just the San Francisco 49ers are just going to roll into Tampa Bay, and they're going to win. I don't know if it's going to be 69 points in total. I think it's going to be a close game overall. I think this is just when the oh my gosh. All right, whatever. We're not going to change the scores anymore. I think it's just like Kansas City. Not Kansas City. I think it's just that San Fran is just going to start rolling, and they're just going to start sneaking into the playoffs and steal the steal the division, unfortunately. But next week, getting into our next games. Washington 7-2 on the year. They just beat the Giants 28-22. Pittsburgh 6-2. Really fun game. Might be the game of the week. I'm not really sure. I mean, in terms of record-wise, I think it might be the toughest game to predict. But I think, Jaden Daniels, this guy's just rolling, man. This guy is rolling. Dan Quinn has got his team in check. Cliff Kingsbury, who has been an underrated addition. He's made Jaden Daniels' life so easy. He's going to win the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Dan Quinn's probably going to win Coach of the Year, in my opinion. So, really good stuff from them. Okay. Chargers taking on the Tennessee Titans. We did take the Titans last week. We're not going to take them this week. Spoiler alert. Yeah, I mean, Justin Herbert's a good QB. I think getting another win in just for them is just huge with what they had to deal with last year. Quentin Johnson not being good last year. We worried so much about this wide receiver core, about Ladd McConkey and Quentin Johnson and Joshua Palmer not being great. Jim Harbaugh has got this team in check, and they're going to be 6-3. Getting into our final games of the week. Jets against the Arizona Cardinals. For me, I've bet on the Jets a lot in these weekly picks, and I haven't done great. I took them. I did not take them against the Houston Texans, and they won. And for me, I look at this Jets team on paper, right? Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers when he wants to be. You traded for Davante Adams, who's a very good wide receiver still. You got Garrett Wilson. You got Breece Hall. You got a good enough defense to win your game. And I look at the Jets, and I'm like, they're 3-6. For a team on paper like that, I just can't believe they're 3-6. If I'm being totally honest. Arizona's 5-4, but to me, they're 5-4, but I don't think they're a great 5-4 team. Kyler Murray's having a good year, of course. Marvin Harrison Jr.'s good for them. I'm really leaning towards the Jets, but I also have taken the Jets so many times, and they failed me. And they have failed me. And I look at their record, 3-7 with Aaron Rodgers, and Davante Adams, and Breece Hall, and Garrett Wilson. It pains me to do this. I'm going to take New York. And if I've jinxed the Jets fans enough, this might just be another jinx spot. But, hey, this team might be starting to roll. They beat a good Houston team. Maybe they're going to start taking some wins. And they, I guess you could say they improved to 4-6, even though it's still under 500. Another game, a game that screams Philadelphia. Dallas is hurt. Dak Prescott's expected to miss multiple weeks. Even with Micah Parsons coming back, it's not going to play a difference. As good as Micah Parsons is, Jalen Hurts is healthy. A.J. Brown's healthy, even though he suffered a significant knee injury. I think he's expected to play this week. Devontae Smith is there, and I haven't even talked about Saquon Barkley. This guy did not get re-signed by the Giants and is making it look like the biggest mistake for the New York Giants. I mean, this guy's doing backwards hurdles, making plays, and he is going to cruise in. And I think they're going to destroy Dallas. I really do. I don't think Dallas has really any chance in this game. And if there's something that I've learned, is that you may make the playoffs multiple years in a row, Dallas, but eventually you're going to hit a rock on the road, and it's going to be tough. And I think what's also tough is giving up a 4th-round pick for what was it, Jonathan Mingo from the Carolina Panthers. If you're Carolina, you love that deal because you actually got more for Jonathan Mingo than Deontay Johnson. So, I mean, I don't know what Jerry's doing, man. I don't know what Jerry Jones is doing for this team. He's only making it worse for Dallas fans. Getting into another game, Detroit. How about Dan Campbell and these Lions, man? For me, they're the projected team to go to the Super Bowl for the NFC. I'll tell you that right now. They're the best team in their division. I think they're the best team in the NFC. They rarely make mistakes. They beat you up. They do everything that actual Lions do. And I'm going to take them this week against the Houston Texans to improve to 8-1. I could definitely see a spot where Houston wins this game. But, I mean, Detroit is just rolling. And when you're rolling, it's tough to beat you, whether you're at home or you're on the road. We're going to take the Detroit Lions here in a close game. And wrapping up this game, the picks. Miami Dolphins against the LA Rams. Of course, we look at the bottom of our screen. The teams on the bye this week, the Cleveland Browns, the Green Bay Packers, the Seattle Seahawks, and the Las Vegas Raiders. Taking the Rams in our final game. The Rams, it seems to me that they're starting to roll. They're getting Cooper Kupp back. They're getting these guys back. And that young defense is doing some good stuff. Sean McVay is a very good coach. And with Matt Stafford as your QB, I actually like the chances that maybe the Rams maybe sneak into the playoffs. And I guess we could look at that with this. We'll look at it right here. This would be the projected. Ooh, sorry about that. This would be the projected playoffs. Let's make sure I have this correct. Make sure you guys can see that. So this would be the projected playoffs. If we keep messing it up. So this should be the projected playoffs. With all the records. Can't really see the Commanders. There we go. So number 1 seeds would be the Lions and the Chiefs. That's gonna happen. Like that, I fully expect to happen. Now, for me, I think this could be a projected playoffs. I really do. I think I could see all 7 of these teams making the playoffs. Now, on the left side, not sure with the Broncos, but hey, they might make the playoffs. I think the Chargers could definitely make the playoffs. I think Buffalo, honestly, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and Ravens, I think, is a lock. I think the Texans obviously win the division. But overall, really solid stuff going into these playoffs. It's going to be fun. Like I think this year's playoffs is going to live up to the hype. I mean, the Rams might sneak into the playoffs. The Lions are cruising. And I'm really liking what I'm seeing from the playoffs, from the playoff picture. But anyways, guys, that's gonna wrap it up for this for these weekly picks. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Subscribe, leave a comment below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.